Winter arrived early in the northern Rockies, so I decided to go to my local fly shop, the Rock Creek Mercantile, and learn how to tie the Bugmeister pattern, as the originator, John Perry, was teaching the pattern on Saturday.
So I'm going to put the thread on, and I'm going to start at the head. I'm going to wrap it down, and this is for a bite, right? Kind of wrap it back up again a few times, then down again. That's bite. And now I'm going to put the tail on first. I'm going to put a kind of a stubby, short elk tail on. Get a little clump, kind of feel it, the thickness. It's hard to describe, but if you look at this thickness, that's a good little thickness. You don't want it too thick or thin. And and we're using a fairly large hook, but that's a common size for the Bugmeister. I don't know. He said it was
It's a size 6, I think.
Yeah, I think they don't have the size right or something, but that's a perfect size, and that's more of maybe a small streamer hook. But I like this size with a thinner, stronger wire. Right? But this will still work. So I'm going to cut at the base here. Cutting at the base with elk. And then what I'm doing as he passes it around, I'm holding the tip ends, right? Because I cut towards the base, it's going to be kind of I guess the duff or whatever you call it.
Like the underfur?
The underfur, the furry part there. You hold this tight and you keep those loose, and then you get rid of that kind of furry stuff out of there. And then I'm going to put it in the hair stacker. Tips down. So the way that I take it is put it perpendicular, right? But you guys already know that. I'm pulling mine out, pinching, and then I pinch again, and I look, and I see a broken one. So I'm gonna just pull that broken one out, and boom. So once I got that, I'm gonna rest the butt down here. If everybody can see, I'm gonna rest it down here. My thread's it's a little forward, right? Perpendicular, a little forward of the hook, the point of the barb. I'm gonna rest it down there. I like it. So I'm gonna switch hands now. Now I'm gonna pinch it with my left hand. I'm gonna hold it, roll it to my side just a bit, because that first sweep that you do with the thread will want to make it roll to the other side. So I'm going to go light. See how light I'm going? And I wrapped it up just a bit. Light. I'm wrapping it up. Kind of an underbody. Light. Then I'm going to wrap back. Go slow. I just wrapped it up to the point to where I'm going to put the parachute in, kind of.
Okay.
And you're just creating a slight bulk in there. And I'm going to come back down, write it down, and then I'm going to pull a little tighter. And I do kind of a security wrap. I lift up the tail like a dog lifts up his tail. I lift it up, and I move that thread under a couple of times. Security wrap, and then I wrap over it again. And that security wrap will make the fly last a little longer. Now I'm going to come up and I'm going to wrap tighter where I wrapped before. I'm tightening it to secure it, because you want your fly to last.
You great.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm taking a gob of it because you want to pick out the longer pieces if you can.
I'd just pull a clump out and then we'll
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah. So I lined up the butts. I'm just going to clip them just so they're nice and even, because we're going to tie them in. Okay. Now, the thread's still halfway or up towards the front. So I'm gonna lay this down towards the front, and I'm just gonna tie it in. This is for security. See how where I put it in, and then tying back, holding it, and tying it back.
Do we want it overhanging the front at all?
Pardon?
How far forward do you want the
Oh, you could move it back just a pinch. Yeah, that looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're wrapping that in, and I'm turning my vise. Yeah, see where I put it in?
Okay. Yeah.
Where the
You
thread
don't
meets.
have to waste your scissors on it then. So aesthetically, like tying commercially, it's a sin to, not a sin, but it's, when you're selling flies, like when you'd never want to cut the post or cut the tail or anything like that. You just don't. So you'd stack this by hand, right, and line up that as good as you could. The calf tail, right? So you can line it up as good as you could, and it doesn't stack too well unless you put baby powder in here and stuff. So you can line that up and go with the aesthetics of trying to, and I'm using the table I can't see well, so I use sometimes white paper, so it shows up, and I can see that I gotta pull out and restack, get the long ones and restack it in your hand. Like if you're filling an order or something, they generally wouldn't want to see something cut. That's why, nowadays more, I definitely use Congo hair, which is one of the products from Doug Brewer. My preference is, I got that butt coming down here again. I'm gonna go like that, and I'm gonna tell myself, yeah, that looks good to me. That's my length. Rather than tell you how long it is, once I put it in, I'm gonna wrap it back just a bit for secure it. Then I'm gonna cut the extra, kind of angled if I can. Secure it, and I'm gonna move the thread back up and pull this back big time. Don't crowd the head. You want, and see by looking and seeing, it's better than saying, 1/8 or whatnot, because it's gonna vary on what flies, but proportionally, you want it back just a bit. And if you think you're crowding, you see what I did? I pinched and shoved everything back. That looks good to me. See, if you can see, can you see down there?
Yeah.
That's how, you don't want to crowd the head. I'm going to grab it with my left hand, pull this all the way back. First, one wrap here, and watch what I do with my fingers. Just up, pinch, up, pop it back, up. And I'm going to climb the ladder just lightly with the thread, just climbing it just a bit so it comes up, and it's basically 90 degrees or canted slightly back. At this stage.
You're just kind of helicoptering it.
Yeah. So anyway, we got that there. Now I'm going to take some of this, some sort of crystal flash, and he picked greenish, which is good. Doesn't have to be the name crystal flash. It'd be something like it. And these are fairly stiff, which you don't want the real light ones because they kind of flop around. And so I'm just going to take a little bit, right? And I'm going to cut at the base. And since this stuff is kind of expensive, you want to utilize it. So I took this and I'm going to lick it at the tip end. Then I'm going to double it over. I'm going to lick that end too.
How many strands did you get there?
I probably took 5 strands.
5 of them? Okay.
If you do 4, but you're doubling them over. Okay, now I'm going to just snip off this as I tie it in. And in fact, if you snip it off and tie it in, that's good. But you can also, see how I doubled it over? You can also just come in and double it over like that, right? And then tie it in, and that's a good security thing. Tie it back, tie it front.
Are you in front of the post there?
No, I'm in back, but I'm tying in front and in back of the, and that solidifies it good. And then I can come in and cut this. I didn't break my peacock yet, so I'll come in and break my peacock. I notice that's a bit long, that's no biggie. I'm gonna come in and cut more of the tinsel down. Everybody wants it. You want your broken peacock, right? Even with your tail, and then your clipped underwing, crystal flash underwing, even with the tail. Next thing, elk again. This is gonna be the main wing. So I'm pulling out some fairly thick. I'm gonna pull out, this is about, for this fly, a third of a regular pencil length thickness. And then it's gonna be thinned down just a bit when I pull out the grub at the base. We're gonna cut it at the base. And it's gonna get thinner, right? When I pull out the grub, some of the longer ends are gonna come out too. So I spread and pull out the grub. Keep rotating, pull out the grub, because the thicker you go, the more grub's going to be in there. In fact, some people can use, there's little combs that you can comb through there to pull out that grub. So I'm going to measure this, and I want this to be as long as the peacock and the crystal flash.
Oh no.
Or a tinch longer. So I got that much for me. I'm going to tie in. I'm going to tie it in at the base here, the base of the post, the back.
Right behind the post?
Yeah, right behind the post. And I'm going to bring it towards me a bit, light. And by doing that, I'll say, well, am I a little long? If I was, then I'd shove it forward just a bit. But I'm going to go light, 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 light. Then I'm going to tighten, 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 tighten to solidify. And I'm going to splay it out just a bit. Splay it as I tighten. Now this, if you're using glue, this is the spot where I would recommend you to, if you're going to use glue at all, this is a spot where you might want to glue it to help solidify that. And notice when I tighten that down, that this 90 degree got pushed forward a bit. So I'll have to come in, wrap in front again, and then circle the parachute, right? Circle that. See how I splayed it? I'm splaying it just a bit. And we don't want them too long. So when I bend these, you can notice they're fairly long, but the fuzzy part we want to eliminate because it's not going to help. It's not going to help with the floatability of it.
John, I'm gonna hit you up for some hackle here eventually. Probably this winter.
Okay, yeah.
You see what I'm doing here? I got both these. I'm bending it over, and I'm gonna gauge. I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna say, well, the length looks good. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of the kind of, if you look down towards the butt section, they're kind of fuzzy. So I'm just gonna pull and pull, pull. So I have part of the stem showing, and this is what it looks like. When I break that, I can see that, that's the right length. These are going to be kind of flimsy, but these are going to be stiffer. so it comes in front of the post. I'm gonna angle it so it coming in front of the post. I'm gonna tie a couple of times. These are security wraps, right? Tying in front, then in back, and then in front again. And so when I get this, when I wrap these, I'm gonna go up and then down with these, but I wanna make sure that they're solidified. So they're gonna be solidified. See the amount of stem that I have here still left over, and that would be, Johnny, 1, 2, 3, that's probably 1/4 of an inch, right, that I have to work with. Okay, so we have a little bit of nakedness here, right? Get down. Especially for the people using light colored yellows or pale or whatnot. So we're gonna get a little peacock in here to cover up. And I'm gonna just tie them in front, right? Tie them in front, and I'm gonna bring my thread to the front and tie off a half hitch. So my peacock's tied in at front. That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna tie in the back. I'm gonna wrap it in back, even though I tied it in front. All right, you see what I did? Now I'm gonna shift this to the front momentarily, right, the hackle, and I'm gonna bring these and I'm gonna ride them back to cover some of my yellow, and then I'm gonna shift them in front. I have enough, back again, and I'm gonna shift these in front to cover everything up, and then I'm gonna
Jesus, it's breaking now.
tie that in, clip off these, tie another half hitch in, so that I've got my peacock solidified.
What are you doing?
I'm wrapping this, and the stem on these are so stiff on these ones, it's gonna be kind of hard. So you got to wrap and wiggle. See how I'm wiggling? And I'm gonna climb the ladder just a bit. I'm gonna go up the chute just a bit, not too far. But I'm wiggling and I'm holding. Now see, I shift with one hand to the other. Before starting, you might want to just watch me finish this and see what I do. And I'm already going down because of...
Yeah, not the best hackle for it.
No, but I think it's gonna suffice. But see how I'm wiggling? I'm binding it under. Now I'm under, wrapping under. And I'm wiggling it under so it binds in under. And then I'm gonna take my middle finger or other finger, and I'm just gonna pinch it right there. Because I'm gonna take my thread, I'm gonna move this, the good hackle, out of the way.
Oh, when you start
Right? I'm gonna move that out of the way, because when I wrap forward and do a half hitch and then a whip finish, I don't want to capture any of the hackle, right? I just want to capture, see how I moved the hackle that I just hackled? You know what I'm talking about, right?
The hackle you just
Yeah. So I'm gonna take this lightly, and I'm gonna move this, wrap in front. Then I'm gonna come in, pull that back again.
Oh no.
Clip.
At the end.
It's the worst.
how do you
Father. Whip finish.
Oh, the whip finish tool is the best.
Oh, loves a wet finish. Much as I love it. Capture Valley granola bar.
Oh shit.
Did yours break too?
Damn it.
Oh, yours broke right at that end?
Right at the end.
You're getting hit by a truck. Shit.
you hear? Oh,
What's going on?
everything. Everything just gone.
That's pretty good.
Oh, I think it's time for biscuits and gravy.